We have Representative John McCravy to review the bill with us.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. You know, there are a few things we do as legislators that are more important than protecting vulnerable children. One of those important legislative protections that has come to pass is to protect minors from so-called gender transition procedures. 22 states, including every state surrounding South Carolina, which includes North Carolina, Georgia, Florida, Tennessee, Alabama, Louisiana, and Kentucky, have already passed this proposed legislation. First, what this bill does, the first thing it does is protect minors from the use of hormone drugs known as puberty blockers. These drugs block the normal puberty hormones released by the body that cause normal development of a child's reproductive organs. Growing evidence shows that puberty blockers are not safe and result in irreversible physical, not to mention emotional damage. The FDA has warned that this carries a risk of a rare condition called pseudotumor cerebri that can cause swelling of the optic nerve, headache, vomiting, elevated blood pressure, paralysis. Also, because they prevent the natural development of reproductive organs, the Endocrine Society has warned that there's a lack of data on whether the use of these drugs may result in a greater incidence of infertility. Researchers in the UK are now concerned about the negative effects on the brain itself from these drugs. And numerous studies have already proved that puberty blockers seriously diminish bone density of children. The second thing this bill does is protect minors from the irreversible effects of cross-sex hormones. This is where a biological girl, for instance, may be given testosterone, or a biological boy is given estrogen. Extended use of cross-sex hormones will sterilize a child for life. They damage the testes in males and the ovarian function in females. 3 different studies show that cross-sex hormones carry an increased risk of stroke, blood clots, and other cardiovascular issues, and this damage is irreversible. The third thing this bill does is protect minors from radical and irreversible surgeries, and it's all tied together. The facts are that 98% of children who receive puberty blockers go on to get the cross-sex hormones, and then that 97% of those go on to have irreversible surgeries. And the sad part is, the fact is that when left alone, 85 to 90% of young people with gender dysphoria return to identify with their biological sex by adulthood. It's also a fact that approximately 60% regret their choice later when they go through with these procedures. You know, you might have seen this on 60 Minutes. Just go back and look at the 60 Minutes documentary they did on this a couple of years ago. The bill is medically sound. It's been reviewed by medical experts and contains extensive exceptions for any congenital abnormalities, as well as certain developmental disorders and procedures needed, and certainly any procedures needed by injury that would place a person at risk for impairment or serious bodily function or death. Mr. Chairman, this summarizes the bill, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.